Okay, dear friends in Dhamma, we are going to start the first Dhamma discussion. So, as usual, Tantrika has ready written questions. So, we will start with written questions.
Avasara Bhante, we have received 6 reports today.
Yeah.
Report number 1, Reverend Bhante, walking meditation. Started walking after selecting a suitable sand walking path. Very clearly felt the movement of steps, changing weight from one step to another, touching feeling of sand in each sole in various places, and diminishing of the feelings immediately after every movement of changes. Example, the heel first, then the other parts of the sole, and thereafter the toe to the next feet, etc. Observe the rapidness of the changes, its impermanency. When having meals, etc., felt the hardness, the softness, the taste, etc., and its changing nature in every bite. Observe the impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, etc. In sitting meditation, too, had a satisfactory attempt in the morning. Seated on a cushion flat on a mat, which gave some comfort and helped to keep the upper part of the body erect, and felt the body weight over the cushion onto my back. However, the mind started to move to various other things, going away from the breath, but was aware of it and tried to bring it back. This was going on for several times until the bell was rung. Thero Nissarana.
I think there is nothing much to add. So, you understood the method. So, it's a matter of being further and further familiar with it. And you have beautifully written that you are various bodily phenomena are there, feelings are there. You are trying to simply be aware of them. So, without proliferation. Now, knowing them directly is one thing, and thinking about it is another thing. So, what we are trying to develop is that very silent type of awareness. So, different phenomena are arising in the body. So, we are simply keeping our attention there and paying a very silent awareness, maintaining a silent awareness, but with some curiosity in the mind. Kind of approach is some sort of an investigation. So, different things are there, but are curious about it, what's really going on. But not a talking mind, not a speculative mind, rather a type of an inquiring mind. So, you are written it properly, so I think you are doing well. It's a matter of continuing it further. Yeah.
The yogi needs to discuss further, please raise your hand.
Yeah. So in case if you want to participate in the discussion or you need to ask more questions, please feel free and you can raise your hand.
Report number 2. Bhante, this says sitting, walking, day to day. Shall I read all together?
We'll see.
Okay. Sitting meditation. Started with Anapanasati. After few minutes, watch the arising and passing of thoughts. Then the mind goes to an empty state. But some days the mind is on a surface level. Walking meditation. I walk naturally without noting. I am mindful of the touch sensation. After a few minutes, noted the arising and passing of unrelated thoughts. The thoughts doesn't disturb the mind. Between the gap between the thoughts, again the mind comes to the touch sensation. Walking is effortless, stress-free. Day to day. Sometimes I have to attend social gatherings in order to maintain peace within the family. Once in a while, watching a movie, I noticed the mind was not interested and there was no inner chatter after the movie. But when I saw the popcorn, I noticed how a sudden liking arose and how quickly my arm reached for it. While eating, I noticed how slowly the liking subsided. How slowly the liking faded away. At another occasion, I noticed how without any reason, a slight jealousy arising while talking to a person. I felt embarrassed, but without any intervention, it disappeared. I noticed how irritation arises when someone displays selfishness, but when I see this, it disappears. Although the Ajivaya and Kammanta seems to incorporate with the practice, the vacha has certain loopholes, since I have a bad habit of saying things to the face. E. Although I am not mindful, always when a keles arises, I can see it and feel the difference in the body. Very infrequently, I get caught to dvesha. F. I also see the onset of dvesha arising in others, then I quickly remain silent or remove my presence. Please advise me, Bhante. May Bhante attain Nibbana.
Yeah, good. So basically that I remember when you were talking about the last statement, that when I see that someone else's mind is now going to occupy with anger, so I remain silent. So very beautifully mentioned in Dhamma also. So that is how we can actually avoid any kind of a argument, any kind of a conflict, because we know that the other person is not in the good temperament and he is going to be angry, maybe various reasons. But at that moment, knowing that, so we remain calm, we remain silent. That's a very beautiful way of handling things, explained in the Dhamma. Actually, it is related to one, the god Sakka. So he had a fight with an asura called Vepachitti. So Vepachitti and Sakka, so they are two opposite groups, the gods and the asuras. So they had a kind of a conflict. So don't try to go to the heavenly level. So when they are going through that, so actually the asuras were defeated, but the Vepachittis keep on scolding, keep on abusing the god Sakka. And then God Sakka is telling to the other fellow celestial beings, when knowing the other person is angry, so the good thing is to remain calm, remain silent without kind of provocating it. Simply not fueling it, so you remain calm. So likewise, either we observe how others are going through such incidents and they get into anger, and we can step back and simply not be participating in it, simply being quiet. And on the other hand, you have mentioned that you yourself have observed various defilements in your mind. So that's the only way. So when we know, anger is there, anger is now arising, you step back and watch it. Now as we develop mindfulness, so that Satipatthana practice help us to understand these defilements at their onset. And as we know that, so they start fading away naturally. We don't need to push them. Now say for example, in the previous days probably, you might have practiced metta meditation to avoid anger. But now not necessary, because once you notice anger arising in your mind, so that very notice, that very acceptance, so that very awareness would be enough. We are not feeding it, we are simply being disconnected, we are maintaining some sort of a distance, and then the anger alone can't be sustained, it alone can't survive unless we provide it some support. So now we are not providing that support, the anger is gradually disappearing. So same thing with the other defilements. So you have mentioned several other things also, the same thing. That's why with respect to the defilements, Buddha mentioned Panyaya Disva Disva Pahatapa. You are seeing through wisdom again and again. Again and again you are seeing the defilements arising. Now they are trying to tempt you, they are trying to catch you, but you are maintaining kind of a distance, not promoting it, not being caught up with it. Then they naturally will fade away. So we are not promoting any latent tendencies. We are not promoting any anusaya. We are not promoting any asava. Rather, they are coming due to still that old habit, but we are not promoting them. They start fading away. So this is the only way we can overcome the defilements. So we have full awareness, mindfulness, wisdom, you know how to handle them, and then they are going. But other than that, there are various other methods that Buddha mentioned. Probably you are familiar with the Sabbasana Sutta. So several other methods are mentioned, like say you are maintaining the restraint about the senses. You are not simply open them up to various unnecessary situations. Rather, you are maintaining some sort of a restraint with respect to the senses, and then when we are using various requisites, when we are eating, when we are wearing clothes, or when we are maintaining our house or our vehicle or whatever other resources, every time we are a little careful not to be caught up with various defilements. Because when we are dealing with various requisites, there is a possibility to get various different defilements, but little mindful about it. Patisevana pahatappa. So knowing clearly, wisely, so you are handling things, knowing their purpose, not allowing the mind to get carried away by them, and simply make use of them. And then various other things are there, like vinodana pahatappa, very much like what you have mentioned, knowing that various defilements are there in the mind, but not kind of promoting them or not being caught up with them, simply let them go. And then parivajjana pahatappa, where you are not basically avoiding some unnecessary places. Once you know that things are a little dangerous, kind of vulnerable, so you are not participating into those occasions because you know that this may be harmful. So such harmful situations or harmful people and whatever the other things which are harmful to us, so that we have to avoid. Parivajjana pahatappa. And then bhavana pahatappa, that is where we have to further develop this. We have to further develop some of the Vipassana core. Then that also helps to avoid whatever other defilements popping up in the mind, because mind is fairly equipped. Mind is fairly thorough and powerful, so that the defilements are fairly weak. So necessary qualities we are promoting, developing, all the bojjhangas we are developing, so that the mind is quite equipped, quite strengthened, so defilements are not finding any footing. So likewise, many methods actually Buddha has mentioned. So all are ready, all are necessary. It's a kind of a combination of all these actually we have to promote. Okay.
Report number 3. This has 3 parts. Most respected Bhante, I worship Bhante and humbly request permission to clarify a few things relating to my current mindful practice. Number 1. I try to keep my mind in the open space, and sometimes I can spread my mind without any boundaries when I am getting a peaceful state. Sometimes I experience the signless and emptiness state too. During my free time, I feel a cool, relaxed body and peaceful, calm mind as well. Sometimes I can easily identify very minor changes in the outside environment when some sounds are coming. Even though I did not practice metta meditation, I feel some kind of inner improvement of the components of the Brahma Viharas, within brackets metta, karuna, mudita and upekha. But still I have very minor experiences in my practices, and those are also not properly established yet. 1. Most respected Bhante, can I know whether my practices are going in the correct path?
Yeah, wonderful. Now, actually, this statement, when we are developing the emptiness, when we are maintaining the mind in the unattached state, so it is naturally equipped with the Brahma Viharas. So, sometimes people, certain teachers encourage us to purposely practice metta, even parallel with Vipassana. And there is a beautiful sutta called Metta Sutta in the Bojjhanga Samyutta, where Buddha mentioned metta sahagatena sati sambojjhangam bhave vekanistam viraganistam nirodhanistam ossan parinami metta sahagatena dhamma vicaya sambojjhangam bhave. So you are maintaining kind of a loving environment within the mind, loving kindness sort of mind, and still you are practicing the bojjhangas, enlightenment practice. That may be a very beautiful way in a way, because sometimes you might feel the mind become a little dry. So as we practice Vipassana, pure Vipassana, maybe kind of dryness can happen. But mixing it with the metta as a lubricant may be beautiful. so therefore no harm, by the way. But on the other hand, the point is, now as we are promoting as human beings, when we are developing. So this metta, mudita, karuna, upekha seems like these are inherent characteristics. We don't need, we can't say we don't need to practice them, but still some amount of metta, karuna, upekha, those things are available to some extent. Maybe depending on each person, the amounts may be different, but there are like characters who are empathetic, sympathetic, loving, and all that certain compassionate side of qualities are there. So they are there. But still, mind is not equipped with many objects and thoughts and emotions, etc. But mind is maintaining very calm, relaxed, evenness of the mind, but those qualities are available. So you are very sensitive. So we are not losing the sensitivity. So that is different actually. Sometimes people misthink, kind of wrongly interpret. Okay, you become kind of a dull or kind of callous kind of situation. It is entirely different. You are not being callous as a result of the practice. Rather, you are very, very sensitive. But still, you can calm down. You know the reality. You know that reality is this. This is how the world is working. This is how the formations are working. This is how the conditioned phenomena are working. So whatever the say ups and downs are available, you are still maintaining the sensitivity, but able to kind of retain the calmness, maintaining kind of steadiness of the mind. So that's the maturity. So as we are growing, so that is where we have to move forward. That's the thadi. Thadi means that the ups and downs are unavoidable. So when we are living, ups and downs, the vicissitudes of the life is unavoidable. And while we are going through that, so are we able to maintain evenness of the mind, stability of the mind? So that's the challenge. We may collapse shortly, but quickly come back. Resilience is there. So these are very interesting actually. The practice has to be really combined with the day-to-day activities and our lifestyle situations, circumstances. So how when we are dealing with our children or siblings or colleagues or whoever other people, so are we able to maintain that balance? So that is the practice in a way. It's not, here we are kind of maintaining some sort of training, just inbound training. But external, outside is the real breakdown. Yeah.
Further, I wish to know more about Animitta Samadhi and Cheto Vimukti, please.
Yeah. So so as we develop Satipatthana, so you are familiar with how we are able to reach the non-grasping state, unattached state. So that may be the kind of early stages that we are coming with, experiencing. So assume that you are practicing Dhatu Manasikara. So further and further we practice, so then all external physical phenomena are not much bothering you. They are there, you can see them, but they are not disturbing the mind. Sounds are there, but they are not disturbing the mind. Smells, taste, touch, those are there, but not disturbing the mind. So the mind being fairly independent from the physical world. But to a limited extent, still certain sounds, certain smells or certain visuals still can penetrate the mind, can disturb the mind. So therefore our independence, our freedom is still vulnerable, still fragile. But this independence, this freedom is now growing, further and further growing, and it's become more and more expanded. So at the beginning what we have is a very limited type of freedom, like a cell, like a womb. But as we are continuing, as we are maturing, even to the other levels, say with respect to the feelings, now you are able to maintain some freedom. With respect to thoughts, you are able to maintain some freedom. With respect to signs appearing in the mind, you are able to maintain some freedom. Sights, sounds, smells, tastes, tangibles, thoughts, you are able to maintain some freedom. So now we are further and further expanding. So at the beginning, what we are very much like experiencing is Animitta Samadhi. But as we are expanding it to a limitless, a boundless type of level, then we can call it as Animitta Chetoyut. A complete liberation of the mind by not having any signs, by not taking, not picking, not being carried away by the signs. So that is the development of the Samadhi. So at the beginning it is very limited, scope-wise very limited and very fragile. You still can fall, still you can get into defilements, still easily you can get angry, and all the defilements are still very close by. But more and more we are familiar with it, more and more we are seasoning it. So then the defilements are also reducing, their strength are reduced, and your capacity is growing, that signless state is also growing, and you can easily attain it, or you can simply easily keep your mind there. And so we can say now very much like signless state is fairly expanded, drawn to a level that is no boundary. So that's a very beautiful statement by Venerable Mahamoggallana. So Moggallana, the Arahat Moggallana was practicing Animitta Samadhi. Actually at that time he is mentioning that his mind has picked certain signs. Now say literally signless means no sign, right? So you can't have any kind of an image popping up, any disturbance coming, any thought coming. So it has to be a very pure type of a signless state. But he say that I got certain nimittas, I got certain signs. And he reports that to the Buddha, and Buddha say, so be careful there. So you should not promote that, you should not encourage those signs. So have it a kind of a more purest form if possible. Maybe I think he has attained through Animitta, I don't know, I can't exactly remember that. But later, Venerable Moggallana praised the Buddha. So if a monk is to be said that who has the support of the Buddha, if a monk to be said, a monk to be known who has had the ready support from the Buddha, I am one of them. Because Buddha came and Buddha pointed out, okay, there are certain faults in my samadhi. While I am maintaining this animitta, I went through certain signs, certain disturbances. So Buddha pointed it out, asked me to avoid it. Then I developed it further, and I have achieved the maximum, something like that. So therefore, immediately we might not be able to, because this is the animitta state also vulnerable, animitta state also fragile. So because the defilements are still available, time to time different defilements are there. As a result of that, various signs are popping up, and sometimes we grasp them, sometimes we name them, then we tangle with them, so we go wrong. But the more and more we are developing, so the signs are appearing distant, they are not disturbing, and our signless state become boundless, limitless, expanded. This is the growth. This is the growth type of growth happening. Yeah.
Part number 2. While doing a sitting meditation in the early morning, most of the time I am mindful of the event. But during daytime, when doing sitting meditation, sometimes I feel head movement, within brackets, coming down and shaking. And I am not sure whether I have fallen asleep or not. But I can enjoy a peaceful state even after opening my eyes or changing posture. Most respected Bhante, how can I clearly identify whether I have fallen asleep or not?
So, is it yes? Yeah. So, I mean, can you explain that state? What are the things, experiences like?
Avasarai Bhante.
Yeah.
It's actually how to say that I am sitting and
right.
doing the same as morning meditation also I can do.
Right.
But sometimes I feel my head is shaking and
Sorry?
head is shaking and coming down, and like that way some sort of difference is there.
Hmm.
But
maybe now one thing is now So to some level we have some kind of an association of a feeling, some association of little of a thought, and that level we are able to maintain the posture. But the moment that nothing is there, we might slip to something, and a slipping can happen because objectless state still unable to maintain the bodily posture. Say, in order to maintain the bodily posture, we are taking some information from various signs. Say, that's why say we are opening our eyes, we can hear things, and we can smell, taste, all that steadiness. All these data are necessary to maintain the posture properly. But say when we are going to the Vipassana, so all these things are being depleted, ultimately disappeared, then there is no way to maintain the posture, can slip, can fall. So that is one possibility.
Bhante, now the morning one I can identify correctly.
Right.
But the daytime one is the problem one. That's why I am saying that.
Is it mixed with kind of sleepiness? Because that is the very tricky area. Because as a result of the sleepiness, also one can fall.
Yeah,
it's difficult to differentiate.
Yeah,
because sleepiness, in the sleepiness state, actually you may feel kind of lethargic and nodding and all that. You are not vigilant. But in the previous case, you are quite vigilant, but still dropping can happen.
Yeah, the morning one now dropping is not coming. Now I can manage it.
Right.
But the daytime.
But that also, it is not all. It is not that we have to, in a hard way, to maintain the posture. Rather, smoothly we have to go through. If falling happens, let it happen. Because in order to avoid the falling, if you are kind of maintaining another kind of awareness, is it going to fall, then that's a disturbance. What we are interested is just to maintain the signless state, nothing is there, kind of an emptiness, and just be there, just enjoy that, that's enough. So no need to worry about the posture. That's why I sometimes explain or sometimes ask them to lean and have a very comfortable posture. So you don't need to worry much about the posture at all. You can simply work with the mind. You don't need to worry about the body at all. Because thinking about the body, worrying about the body is a burden at that level.
Yeah, morning one I can forget the body and not feeling most of the time.
Right.
Not feeling also. The daytime one is still I can't understand properly.
Mm-hmm.
Today also it was happened to me.
Right.
I can't exactly say whether I go to sleep or not.
Mm-hmm.
But I am in a calm state.
Right. It's okay. Certain glimpses, glitches can happen. So we can't immediately make things perfect. So even a certain defilement comes, you can easily notice it, let it go, and again maintain the clarity of the mind. So likewise, you have to navigate.
After changing the posture also, I can stay in the calm place.
That's right. That's the point.
Yeah.
Now say it is not now. Say for example, previously the calmness or say what we call the passaddhi, the tranquility, is available only during the meditation. But more and more we practice, so that calmness, that tranquility should be available with ourselves even during the other times. It's not you are not strictly practicing, but calmness is there. Tranquility is there. The passaddhi sambojjhanga is very much like available. So mind doesn't have any kind of irritation, agitation, all these things, but mind maintains that calmness. But this is only when no disturbance. Now say someone is coming and hitting and blaming and all that, certain shaking can happen.
This is my next question.
Yeah.
Third part. Last few weeks I had to spend more time with different events with different people. Even though I managed some occasions peacefully, a few unexpected events hurt me. I tried to be mindful on those occasions to check my resilience level rather than hating other parties. Example, one incident I tried to bear it without telling anyone, and I observed how my inner chatter is working.
Sorry, can you repeat
one
that?
incident I tried to bear it without telling anyone, and I observed how my inner chatter is working. Though I took some measures to reduce the inner chatter, I spent around 3 days to settle. I observed how thoughts are popping up to protect, inverted commas, I, and how non-related incidents are linking with this event to get sympathy for myself. Another incident I shared with Kalyana Mitta and able to settle it within half a day and got a very peaceful new meditation experience too. I understood I am still not capable enough to bear the unexpected sad experiences without communicating. Most respected Bhante, according to the Dhamma point, what is the best practice I should follow? Bear only or share with a friend? Please advise. Theruvan Sarana.
I think sharing is also fine, because that is where we are as a group. We are helping each other, promoting, and kind of giving an example. All that really matters. So Kalyana Mitrata is something. Even day before yesterday we discussed. So Buddha actually mentioned what are the conducive factors for development of the Bodhipakkhiya Dhammas. So nowadays there's a retreat going on in Nissarana. That's the theme that we have taken, Bodhipakkhiya Sutta. So there Buddha explains various causes for the development of these Bodhipakkhiya Dhammas. Bodhipakkhiya Dhammas are the qualities which are necessary for the enlightenment, necessary for the understanding. So first thing is Kalyana Mitrata. So therefore no harm in that. You don't need to feel ashamed of, okay, I am talking to someone. No problem. Either I can, suffer myself for a long time and bear it for a long time and somehow overcome it. That's also possible. But if someone is available and trustworthy and sharing and getting some advice, no harm. And the other thing is, more and more we go through, you may have the shock absorbers. Strong shock absorbers will be available. Not immediately. Actually, these few days I also went through some such experiences. One thing is, now in Nissarana, there's all type of rule not to feed animal, particularly to the dogs. Sometimes people are very generous. They are coming and put all the puppies onto the temples and to the monasteries. So they are very, very generous. So certain monks start feeding them. So when people are, you might have experienced this while you are meditating at Nissarana, because sometimes they are coming and barking and shouting and all the disturbance is there. And same thing happens at our Dhanasala in the upper monastery. Certain monks are feeding them. So ultimately what happens is they start being pregnant and little puppies are there. Now everybody being disturbed. Real mess. So about 3 or 4 days ago, I had to go around 9 p.m. or 9:15 p.m. outside in the sense to look at another monk to check that he is going through some fever. So this particular monk is very much like feeding them. So I got little, marked the red line and I blasted him. So I understood that. I went to the, typically was able to maintain the temperament, able to maintain calmness, but went to the peak. So I blasted him to the maximum. So then later I was feeling, I feel it, really felt the disturbance. But interesting thing is it didn't went to a long proliferation, but able to calm down. This is one incident like that. And yesterday also another incident happened. So now this ongoing retreat has many participants, around 90 participants. Now while going through the Q&A session, there were two little frequent characters, and they start talking just in front. So once they were talking and I just look around, then they stopped, then again continuing, second time started. And I asked them, if you are talking again, I am going to chase you away. Strongly mentioned. So I have never done that, but this time, yesterday, it happened. Later I understood, okay, I am coming to the same type of temperament as Bandhu Dhammajiva. So I think that they never expected it from me. They think, okay, Chandaratana is a really compassionate monk. So that's how they think. But blasted them in front of everybody can't help. Because sometimes people are, you might know these characters also, because sometimes they try to, suppress others and overrule others because they being the old figures. So they come to that kind of a mentality. So we have to crush them at that level. So otherwise, their type of attitude disturb the whole thing. So at that moment, can't have mercy. Have to take some action. Because otherwise it is growing and people might think, okay, we are in a way encouraging those kind of things, and in that way we are giving a wrong example. So actually I can remember, that recently passed away Venerable Thero. So he has mentioned a particular statement. The meditation teachers has to be a really rigorous kind of a, stern kind of a character. He has very beautifully mentioned that. I think that's a beautiful book I have read. Among his books I have read one beautiful book called Upakkilesa Sutta. I think there I have read that he strongly mentioned meditation teachers should not, fondle the yogis. They should be strong. So I felt that. Yesterday I felt that, okay, sometimes you have to be strong. And that also, by the way, as she mentioned, it remained in me because immediately after mentioning that, still the question is continuing. So I have to quickly switch back, again concentrate on the question, answer the question, and very quickly changing the temperament, difficult actually, because that action provocates me and I have taken action. Now still the questions are being read. I have to listen back and concentrate and answer that. So how quickly to switch it. So these are, in a way, yesterday I felt that a little bit of disturbance has gone through. By night I am fine. It was maintained a little time because a little irritation, kind of an irritation has happened in me yesterday. So I also was wondering what's really going on. Because to a extent I was able to maintain, even the disturbances are there, but yesterday again went off the rule. So I am also a little careful about myself. So is it possible to maintain or is it necessary to maintain? Because I can remember about Venerable Achan Cha's case. So he has blasted the monks. No mercy. So monks have mentioned that. His students have beautifully mentioned. There are many occasions we are being strongly blamed by Achan Cha. I don't think that he is doing it with anger, but it's happening as a situation. Because Buddha also has mentioned, sometimes I am taming the people with some harsh, strong words. Sometimes in soft words, sometimes with the combination of both. So I feel that, because what I understood is, now if I want to, now this is also adding this thing, but it's not necessary. Now, basically, sometimes we have to be strong. Sometimes we have to tell the things strongly. Otherwise the message is not communicated. Because not everybody is really understandable and they know the depth, etc. But sometimes we have to tell strongly. But the possibility is it possible for me to quickly settle How long am I maintaining that? So am I maintaining it as a kind of a resentment, as a kind of a revengeful thoughts are coming up? I am trying to attack again for no reason. Then it's going to another level. That's not necessary. Because at that moment, say you want to tell strongly, you blasted, fine. But later, are you able to calm down and maintain the calmness? So how quickly we can revert back to that general calmness, general tranquility? That is the type of possibility that we need to see. How quickly I can revert back. So previously, maybe you are maintaining it for a long time, maybe several days even, blaming, cursing, inner chatter going on and on. Now, what is the state now? When such incident happen, are we maintaining it for a long time or is it very short? Went to the peak, blasted, calm down, quickly relax, something like that. So these are lifetime situations. That's what I am mentioning. So that's why we all are human beings as, mothers, fathers, teachers, whoever, whatever the different roles that we have to play. We have to encounter different situations. So we may have to play a role on such cases. Say, assume that you are an administrator, you are a responsible character in your office or your environment, your family or whatever it is. And it is not that every time you have to softly attend a particular matter. You may have to be strongly pass the message. But on the other hand, Buddha mentioned another situation. Now say for example, in the Kakachupama Sutta, Buddha mentioned even when someone is abusing you, someone is blaming you, not for something that you really did, but for, it's a false accusation. So if you are able to maintain calmness, tranquility, then you are good. Basically, such very different interesting areas Buddha has mentioned. Say when certain person is abusing, verbally abusing, so probably that accusation can happen on time. Say he might have seen a proper time for me to tell it, and accordingly he may tell it on time. But maybe an entirely wrong time. Say you are in a busy time and you are talking to someone, that fellow coming and making an accusation. So both are possible. On both cases, Buddha say you have to maintain the calmness. And certain accusations may be completely false, completely simply useless, but still you have to maintain the calmness. And there may be accusations, those are some valid accusations. There also you have to maintain calmness. So likewise, different scenarios Buddha has shown. So these are the areas actually we need to grow. So practice is one thing, the lifetime experiences are different, but our practice has to be applied again and again to these lifetime experiences, then only we are maturing. So therefore, just go through the whole thing. So let the things happen. So how well are we navigating through our life experiences? Yeah. Yes. Yeah, please start.
It's very interesting that you explained, and I personally have the same problem. So
we all have.
So this, but one thing that I want to find out, if possible, to realize. Now, say that somebody, say at home, something is something they are doing which is wrong and necessary to me to correct it. So sometimes as the provocative that level I understand. Oh, I am getting now. So it's I am very badly learned, but still I thought it's useful. Even at that time, I should tell and correct it. People get angry with me. But then I feel, okay, I have gone too much. I should realize, and I calm down. But immediately that calmness, they take it as a weakness of mine, and they do the same, continue the same thing. So how can we
That's the problem, yes. Because they are not maintaining that anger for a long time. So they think, okay, now the fellow has calmed down, so I can simply go and, tease him again.
Not teasing, sometimes they see that I am wrong, you have lost your temper and you have to, they keep on keeping me. Like that. So how to avoid this situation? I know that I am wrong.
When we are advising with reasons, with strong reasons, if we are able to pass the message, communicate it without allowing any loopholes, then that maybe is better. Because if we are simply telling it with a doubtful way, then they may find it fault, or they may find it easy for us to go through. But with evidence, or with, now say you are talking to a child or someone with evidence, with reasons, with proper, the causes, if you are able to properly mention it, then there may be less possibility for them to refute it. Now there are instances like in the Vinaya. So sometimes Buddha encourage, now say if you are telling to a particular another fellow monk certain offense, so Buddha say you have to mention with the exact apatti. Apatti means so different types of offenses are there. So what kind of offense that you have made, and what is the, if possible, what is the type of sikkhapada, the precept that you have violated, and so likewise, if we are properly, explaining the fault, then they have no way to go through in the sense skip it. Rather, they have to accept it, because we have communicated it thoroughly, strongly, with proper factors, with proper attributes. Then no way to excuse. And these are very interesting in a way. Yeah.
Can I?
Sure, please.
Link it to that. One thing, my experience has been that, I fully agree with what you mentioned just now about explaining something rationally and saying, this is what you should do and all. But I find in myself, what gives me away is my tone.
Sorry?
My tone. That tone I take. Mm-hmm. So I'm saying it, the nice things, the nice words, very sympathetic, all that. But the tone says the underlying tone is the harsh. Mm-hmm. And the problem I find about myself is I'm not sensitive to my tone. Uh-huh. But the person who's listening, mm-hmm. I think I've communicated the very rational argument and all that. But the person is reacting to my tone. Mm-hmm. I myself react to the tone and not to what is being said. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, it's a weakness with me.
No, it's a weakness. I think it happens to me also. Because sometimes if I feel now I lose the temperament, the tone increase and not the soft way.
That's right.
But it becomes somewhat mixed with the emotion.
Yeah,
so that is where we grow. So that's where I feel. And when we become emotional, we can't pass the message also.
That's right.
Then we can't properly communicate with evidence and all that. We can't. The information does not properly flow through because we become emotional.
Right.
So that is a weakness in a way.
Right.
Because we need to properly handle it. We should not become overwhelmed by that, but we have to strongly pass the message thoroughly. But for that, we need to maintain the temperament. We should not become really angry, emotional, as you said, lost the tone, then that is kind of a weakness.
That's right.
So because sometimes now say that you want to correct someone, he really did a mistake. So you start feeling it, right? You start feeling it to the heart and you feel emotional, and there you can't tell, you
That's
can't
right.
talk.
Yeah.
Because you understood he is really wrong, I have to correct him, but still when you become emotional, you can't pass the message.
That's right, yeah.
So, but I mean, when it has to be properly mentioned, so how are we managing ourselves? Isn't it? I mean, it's a different art in a way.
That's right.
So advising someone is not an easy thing.
Mm-hmm.
So how to maintain our temperament at that time without losing our control, and then strongly passing the message also. Not in a soft way, but very, very strongly also passing the message in a consistent way.
That's right.
Not an easy thing.
So if I'm not taking too much time, sometime back I was teaching at the Hampasal, and I kept, I do a lot of role play with the children.
Right.
And so I had to do a little role play where, if I'm to cut it short, where a grandmother, where the child is watching the TV, watching the match or whatever, the grandmother says, I can't find my slippers, and then so the son says, okay, it must be somewhere. Then, no, but it's not there. It must be in the pantry. Ayo, Achi, it's not in the pantry. So I do this thing, and I tell the children, now your tone is giving you away. There's no compassion. Fine tune it. So I do the role play with fine tuning. So I get the others who say, that's not enough. Fine tune it a bit more. Fine tune it a bit more. But children do it. But I find the secret is, at that moment, what gets the right tone, for me, it may be wrong, is the compassion. Mm-hmm. I have to think of the Archie, she's old, she can't, she doesn't understand, she feels lonely. So I have to tell the children, you must think of all that, then the tone will come. Mm-hmm. So I tried it, and it worked to some extent, not totally. Sorry for taking so much time.
Yeah. So that's another way that Buddha also has communicated. When you are advising someone, when you are talking to someone, is it the correct time to talk? And is it with the proper ground you are talking? And are you angry, or you are talking with loving kindness? So are you angrily, immediately, emotionally reacting, or you are calm down and you are compassionately telling it? So likewise, certain areas Buddha pointed out, when you want to accuse someone, when you want to advise someone, so first of all you need to check about your state. So am I strong, am I fine, you are not become emotional, rather you are able to maintain the calmness of the mind. And what is the attitude? Is it to harm him, or is it to sort of correct him? Or is it the correct time to mention? So, and is it the truth that you are talking? So likewise, many factors Buddha asks us to tell, asks us to verify before we talk. But when we become angry, we never think of that. No, we immediately blast the fellow. No? Very interesting areas actually. Yeah, we'll go to the next section.
Report number 4, Dear Bhante, when going in this Sowan path, do we have to sacrifice more time on our religious life like meditation, or do we need to balance the family life with religious life? Balancing it sometimes difficult with kids. Please advise.
I think it depends on the person. So how much capable each one of us. So one person, you may need a lot of time, you have to dedicate a lot of your time. Another person maybe with very good concentration, very good wisdom, quickly can do it. So therefore we can't say a general answer. I feel it depends on you. Simple example is now, what's that name? In Anguttara Nikaya, there's a beautiful sutta. can't remember the name of the sutta. So there are kind of a contradiction has happened. Now one lay person, so he is so devoted, he is so faithful, and he has maintained a family life, and then he has completely given it up, but still going through the family life, but not with sex and all that relationships, maintaining a celibate life, and he passed away. And another person, he is maintaining the family life, didn't go through such a kind of celibate state, he also passed away. And then the both were asked from the Buddha, what is their destination? And Buddha said, both of them attained Sakadagami. As far as I can remember, they were both attained Sakadagami. Then the people start refuting, but how can it happen? So this person is so devoted, so maintain a celibate life, and you are mentioning that he attained Sakadagami. No, that fellow is, it's simply a household. You simply spend time with the children and wife and all that, and how can he attain Sakadagami? And so there's a kind of a conflict happen, and Buddha say you can't simply say by mere outside appearance. The second fellow, even though he has maintained that family life, he is a really a wise person. He somehow handled the whole thing properly. So that's why it depends on the person. We can't simply say it's as a general rule. So it depends on the person how well you are able to manage both sides. For one person, it's difficult. They have to give up the home life, family life, and completely dedicate on the spiritual side. But to do it, that's also necessary. Another person, somehow they are managing both. So it depends on the person. So therefore, no general rule. I can't remember that. It's a very beautiful sutta. I can't remember the name of that person is there into the sutta. I'll find it out and tell you the name of the sutta. And Venerable Ananda is the one actually confronting and passing that message to the Buddha, and the daughter is the one who is telling, okay, my father-in-law, my uncle is like this, he passed away, and my father is like this, he also passed away. Now Buddha is telling both of them have the same destination. How Bhante it can happen like that? It can't be. So Venerable Ananda then take the message to the Buddha. Bhante, you see this woman is telling like this. She is challenging your statement. Then Buddha simply say, you that idiot can't mind. She can't understand. Something like that. Because it's very deep in a way. I mean, we can't simply look at from the situation by a mere outer appearance. Yeah.
Number 5. Dear Bhante, Theruvan Saranai. Is fulfilling 5 senses a hindrance to get dhyana? At least to go in the path of Soan Palaya. I know it's difficult. Tell me how to get rid of these 5 senses. Thinking about impermanence nature, even according to Karaniya Metta Sutta, Subaro.
No, actually, 5 senses, it's not that you are giving up the 5 senses, but the sensual desires, we can say. So while you have the 5 hindrances, you can't attain any samadhi. Simple as that. So that's why in the first jhana, the definition is given like Vivicceva kame, vivicca kusalehi dhamme, savitakkan savicharam, vivekajam kedisukam, pataman jhanam, upasampacca veda. Vivicceva kame, the sensual desire has to be abandoned. And all other akusala, unwholesome states of the mind has to be abandoned. But remember, this is a temporary abandonment. It's not that you are completely giving up your household life and you need to become a monk to attain the first jhana. Rather, at that moment, as a result of the improvement of the 5 jhana factors, so these hindrances are subsided temporarily. So at that level, you can't have any sensual desire. When you have sensual desire, you can't have jhana either. No way. So the mind has to be completely free from any sensual desire. Then only one can attain any jhana. Not only first, any jhana is possible only when the sensual desire is completely abandoned temporarily from the mind. So therefore it's a must. Because the sensual desire is the kama chanda. So kama chanda, the characteristic of kama chanda is jumping from one object to the other object. You can't be satisfied with one object. You can't be completely feeling fulfilled, contented with one object. You simply keep on going, desiring from one object to the other object. That is the kama chanda. So when that is there, so how can you have the jhanic experience? Impossible. So for the jhanic experience to be there, you have to have the firmness of the mind, no shifting, no wavering, completely absorbed. You are there, complete calmness. Say, ekaggata is there. Ekaggata is completely opposite to the kama chanda. Ekaggata is the concentration at that level. But completely there, your mind simply retained there for a long time.
Report number 6. Dear Bhante, Sapa Vedanaava diya bubulak vanne ai. But then, how come when we went for a nice picnic or pilgrimage, we feel like same kind of happiness can gain by going on another picnic? I know it's a mere thought, but I love the experience. The experience that I am gaining from retreats also very pleasurable and peaceful.
No problem. I mean, you can replace that sensuality related pleasure with this type of a pleasure. No problem. That's what Buddha recommend. It's called Gehasita Somanassa and Nekkammasita Somanassa. Gehasita Somanassa is what you are, by watching a movie, by enjoying your senses and all that, you are enjoying some sort of a family type of sensuality related happiness. But with meditation, you are experiencing a different kind of happiness. It's a kind of blissful experience also, but not by gratifying the senses. So Buddha asks us to replace this mundane, low type of worldly happiness with this niramisa, unworldly kind of happiness. So therefore, come here often. Just to enjoy. That's what I mean. Meditation is a kind of, we don't need to think it like a kind of burden. I have to go there, I have to sit cross-legged, that is pain here, aches there. Then it's difficult. But at least for 5 minutes, just enjoying it, just, that ashwase, aswade karagana. If that is possible, meditation is successful. So are we able to do that? Just to enjoy breathing. Have some kind of a happiness or a little bit of joy inserted to your practice. That's why often I ask, so while sitting, have a little smile, slight smile. Even though it appears like artificial at the beginning, later it becomes natural. So, the Buddha has shown a path based on happiness. This Piti Sambojjhanga. Piti is a Sambojjhanga. Piti is an enlightenment factor. Happiness is an enlightenment factor. It's not that you are crying and a gloomy face you attain enlightenment, but with a slight smile maybe. Okay, those are the questions that we have received. So if there are no questions, we can wind up the session. Yeah, please. Can you come forward? Please. Yeah.
Swamina Hansa, this is regarding the mind meditation. When we are meditation, it is difficult to get the mind into the one place. It's distracting. But while we are doing that, I wanted to know whether we should see when we close our eyes, is it like a empty screen or just colorful screen like that? Because sometimes I feel very difficult to concentrate, and when it comes to like light colors like that way, I feel like
colors can appear as the concentration grows.
Yeah,
but
I feel it's not a must. But I feel it's a bit peaceful, like while struggling to get the mindfulness, and then after I feel I got into the correct place like that. But I don't think it's correct, but bit pleasing.
Yeah. Now the thing is, now what we are talking the samadhi type of experience.
Yeah.
So when we practice anapanasati,
Yeah.
when the samadhi is growing, so
Yes.
these kind of nimittas can appear. So these are called anapanasati nimitta, the concentration signs. Are
Yeah.
there. So mostly it happens like different lights appearing, coming and going, but still they are not stable.
Stable.
Yet.
Yeah.
So when they are not stable, no point of looking at them. You
Yeah.
can't have much advantage by simply looking at them.
Yes.
And later there may be a stable nimitta come and simply establish. Probably that you can use to get into the absorption, get into the jhana. That's a samatha practice.
Right. Okay.
Now if we are merely going through samatha practice, definitely there is a kind of a blissful experience that you can enjoy.
Yes.
But the point is, the wisdom is lacking there.
Ah, right.
So wisdom part is not there,
That
but
means
only the concentration part is there.
Concentration.
So that's why, so when we are arriving some amount of concentration, so we like to promote, you start with some investigation also. So then we are very much like having some support coming from wisdom side as well. Not mere concentration, but some support coming from wisdom as well. Then it's a kind of parallel way that we are having samatha as well as vipassana. That may be much better.
But,
Yeah.
That means those are not like signals what you said.
No, not at all.
Like,
Not at all.
right.
So in the vipassana side, say you are simply now at the kayanupassana level. You have to observe. You have to investigate these physical sensations.
Right.
Now, say breathing, it's a kind of
Yeah.
physical sensation. So
Yeah.
you are very much like very carefully observing it, investigating it. What are its characteristics?
Yeah.
Like whether it is long, short, or even long, short is not the proper characteristic.
Yeah.
Like where it is touching and is it gross, is it soft, whether it is light or warm or cool. So these are the very subtle elements, characteristics associated with breathing. If you are able to recognize them, so there you are promoting the vipassana approach. Investigation is actually the promoting that side, the clear comprehension side. So, I mean, if you are practicing anapanasati, have a mixture of these two.
Right. Okay.
So, you are maintaining some calmness, tranquility, concentration, plus you do an investigation also.
When we are considering about what is the thing that when we feel like emptiness, sometimes again the things are coming to thoughts are coming to our mind. No?
Yeah.
So I heard earlier because one Bhante has told me you have to be a guard dog and see what sort of thoughts are coming to our mind. And when we are staying and being like a watch dog, when there's nothing, only that peaceful appearance came, and when there's something coming, it goes like that way. Is it?
No, I mean, the thing is, as you are growing kayanupassana, so you may have the capacity to watch the mind without much trouble. It will happen naturally. So you don't need to immediately stop thoughts, stop thinking, no need. Let the mind think, but you are developing the body awareness. So you are strengthening another skill in you that will slowly diminish, that will slowly help you to diminish the thoughts, abandon the thoughts without being carried away by them. So later you can easily watch the mind also. There you are looking at it from a different angle.
Right.
You are not participating to the thoughts, thinking. Other thoughts are mere visitors, like they are simply coming, they are simply going, but you are able to watch them properly without disturbing, without being carried away by them. You can simply watch them. So these skills are slowly developing.
Right.
So Kalalgoda is much easier at the beginning to develop all these necessary skills.
Right.
Yeah. That makes sense.
More merits there.
Okay, then we'll wind up the session and we'll have Dhamma sermon as usual today at 4 p.m. Everyone, Sunday.